Our last grammar point for today is very straightforward in concept, but it does require us to remember back to a concept we may want to review. Let's take a look. 1日に2時間勉強します。1週間に6時間テレビを見ます。1週間に2回友達に会います。When we want to talk about how frequently we do events, we need to remember both our big time frame and the number of times. So in English, we say 2 hours a day, or once a week. In Japanese, these go in the reverse order. First the time frame, then ni, and then the number of times. So our structure is, Smiley-san wa time frame ni, duration or times, verb. One thing to be careful of is that because the duration or number of times is a counter, we don't want to put any particles after it. We don't like to have a particle right after a counter. So instead, we go straight to a verb. Now let's talk about those counters. We are going to focus on 4 different time frames. 1日 for 1 day, 1週間 for 1 week, 1ヶ月 for 1 month, and 1年間 for 1 year. We also have 3 different ways we will show duration or number of times. Kai for times, 時間 for hours, which you already know from 1010, and nichi for days, with, of course, a bunch of exceptions. So let's go over these counters. Kai is one of these ones that have a couple of special ones. You have to watch out for 1, 6, 8, and 10. Let's read over them together. 1回、2回、3回、4回、5回、6回、7回、8回、9回、10回。Once more. 1回、2回、3回、4回、5回、6回、7回、8回、9回、10回。By the way, there's a handy chart of all the ways counters change numbers on page 382 to 383 of your Genki textbook. 時間 you should already be familiar with from Japanese 1010. It's the same as the times on a clock. If you are unsure, it might be a good idea to check back at chapter 1 of the textbook, or at least at the chart I mentioned just now. So number of days is the one that's a bit tricky, although we started talking about it way back in Japanese 1010. Number of days is almost the same as days of the month, so you can practice them both in this chapter. Yay! The only one that's different is the first one, 1日. The rest follow the days of the month pattern. Let's go over them together. 1日、2日、3日、4日、5日、6日、7日、8日、9日、10日。Once more. 1日、2日、3日、4日、5日、6日、7日、8日、9日、10日。Okay, let's take a look at some examples. See if you can tell me how often each person does each activity. 1週間に3回運動します。That's right, 3 times per week. 1ヶ月に1回母に電話をかけます。That's right, once a month. 父と母は1年に2回旅行します。There you go. Twice a year. Now let's try making a sentence ourselves. How often do they see a movie? 1週間に1回映画を見に行きます。How often do they watch TV? 1日に2時間テレビを見ます。How often do they study? 1週間に10時間勉強します。Perfect! Now you have practiced all the new grammar points from Chapter 13. We will review these in detail in the class.